Oh, I do like that.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening, November Foxtrot, and welcome to the show. Joined tonight by myself, Andy, and the lovely Ash. Hello, Ash. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. You?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you, Andy?
Always a bundle of joy.
Excellent.
Yes.
Fair enough. We're going to be chatting tonight about bricks, blinds, and bluffs, urban recce. We're unfortunately unable to be joined by Lance. He has been called out on a work-related, not incident, but activity.
Work activities.
Work activities. But we are joined in the live studio audience at the moment by OH, Kenny Rebel, Mr. Aggravation, James King, and Marky Mark. Hello, hello. Welcome in.
Is the name OH or is it?
Oh.
It could. Well, it's kind of capitalized, so it could be.
Oh. Hello.
Don't know.
Oh. That's it. No, that's what I'm going to call it now. Oh.
I think it's Oscar. It's Oscar anyway. I know who it is.
Yeah. But sounds better.
Hello, Oscar.
That's it. When I see him face to face, he's just I'm going to be like, you're like, oh.
I am, funnily enough, I met up with Oscar relatively recently at the Chatham Military Affair. So whilst I actually don't have any money incoming to my accounts at the moment, I could not avoid buying another one of these bad boys. This is a storm case, Pelican storm case, or hard. Actually, it's not Pelican, it's hard dig apparently. But yeah, 30 quid basically.
That's not bad price.
Nice and solid.
That's not bad.
So I have two of those now.
I bought this. I'm not going to give any more information on that, but this is what I've bought, and it goes.
Is that a HPA adapter?
No, it's not a HPA adapter. It is an adapter, but it's
the
not
fact you've got a mag adapter in your hand is very disappointing to me.
It's right. You wait till you see it. It looks Gucci.
It's not a pistol with an M4 mag, is it?
Huh?
It's not a pistol with an M4 mag, is it?
No.
Disappointing, Andy. Just disappointing.
See,
I've just just googled hard dig cases, and hard dig are apparently Pelly hard dig.
Oh,
so it technically is a Pelly case. I don't know, but it was 35 quid.
35 quid.
Yeah, can't really argue. So very exciting. Right, reconnaissance.
Yes.
Apparently recce, but we all know it's secretly recon. Reconnaissance is a dictionary definition of a mission to obtain information by visual observation or other detection methods about the activities and resources of an enemy or potential enemy, or about the meteorologic, hydrologic, hydrographic, geographic characteristics of a particular area. So it is, in layman's terms, you go to a location and you obtain information about that location and what's going on at that location, and you take that information back. And that's what reconnaissance is. I am still adamant that the shortening of reconnaissance is recon, because that makes logical sense. But in the UK, we call it recce.
That's because it's the right term.
Maybe.
Well, I think I'm not going to even call it either of them anymore.
You're just going to call it reconnaissance?
No, I'm just going to go out and go, let's go for a look-see.
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 Look-see works, to be fair.
You can't get it wrong that way.
No.
and exactly
most people will probably still know what you're talking about as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So from now on, I will not be using the R word. I'll be using look-see.
Yeah, fair enough.
Fair enough.
And I think if everyone did it, we can solve world peace.
That is ultimately the biggest problem in this world.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with religion or geopolitical location.
It's what do you call reconnaissance?
Yeah, fair enough. Right, so the first part of the show, we're going to talk about, I guess it's almost like the human aspect of recon, in terms of how to kind of put yourself in a location or get to a location. So whether you are doing And we're going to be blending terms tonight because there are hi Lance, hi all, sending big loves. Be back next week with any luck. Ha ha ha. I've lost my train of thought now.
Well, you didn't have to read it out.
No, I felt bad. Right, so you've got effectively, whether you're effectively setting up a static OP or I'll refer to it as Recce just to avoid annoying people in the chat. Recce location, or whether you're doing a dynamic, basically kind of moving around, just trying to like pull information in from the area. You will likely need to enter the AO in some capacity. And one of the best ways, I think, that the three of us have done that successfully in Airsoft. Bear in mind that obviously Airsoft events are typically quite small, contained locations. You're not necessarily coming up against, 200 or 300 different people at a location. You're probably in the space of a weekend, maybe meeting the same faces over and over again. So it's quite simple, really, to build up a profile of your opposing force. Now that can be more challenging
as well.
Well, exactly.
True.
Exactly. Right, mate. How's it going?
Yeah.
But if you've got if you've got an event with a Civ Pop faction or something like that, that can make life a little bit more challenging. But especially when you've just got like effectively like a force on force style event, it's very easy to kind of denote, well, you're on the enemy team.
Yeah, definitely.
But there are kind of ways and means that you can kind of blend in a little bit. So one of the things that I know the three of us have done, and we'll go around in a little second to just kind of talk about things that we've done, but beggars, workmen, journalists, civilians, doctors. You can look at the use of props, speaking in character, basically the whole proper LARP aspect. So that, the thing I always find amusing is if you go super heavy with roleplay and LARP to the point of the other team aren't sure if you are actually part of the event, it properly confuses them because for the most part, and I'm stereotyping, but for the most part, a lot of players at MilSim events are not, it's not even Amdram. It's kind of like, I'm making an attempt, but, I'm not really kind of buying into it that much. Whereas if you go to the events where they've got paid actors or, event staff that are kind of there to facilitate the event, they will usually put more effort in. And if you get to an event where you've got a kind of, most of the other players are playing this kind of like, yeah, I'm a policeman, la 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 la, and kind of wandering around with the police academy theme playing, and then you've got some like proper hardcore actors or whatever like doing like that. If you're closer to that side, they won't know which team you're on. So the kind of the role play stuff can be quite handy there. Speaking in character, improvising, and sorry, Andy,
just playing like it can be a massive advantage if you can make it so. Like some people have said to me, like, well, isn't that cheating? But you're there to give them an experience, and you're there to basically to have fun as well. So if you can play with people's minds, then no, in my opinion, it's not cheating.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
Go on.
I was just going to say, it's worth running it past an organizer. If you're planning to bring in, 4 of you want to dress up as a string quartet and go and set up in the middle of a location and start playing music, but, they're trying to portray an event that's like, I don't know, the middle of Afghanistan, probably not in line with the story. So it's worth like speaking to the organizers if you've got any ideas in mind of things that you kind of want to bring in. Don't just go completely rogue and be like, right, well, I'm going to be I don't know, my prostitute was the first thing that came to my mind then. But if you're, I don't know why, but if you're going to be a British builder, for example, well, a British builder, it's fine in a British type event. But if you're in the US or again, if it's based in the Middle East or something like that, probably not. It's not going to fit. You might need to be like a British contractor that's in the location or something like that. So it's got to be appropriate.
Yeah,
but I want to get onto the YouTube because I know you had an absolutely cracking example of this when we did Driftfield.
Yes.
Yeah, and that wasn't really planned though, was it?
No, that was on a whim. I think I think the asbestos thing even came out when we got stopped by the police, that they wanted to look in the wheelie bin full of guns.
Yeah. So basically we were told to bring some sort of civvy clothes with us. And in my car at the time, I still had my work clothes. So I threw on a high vis set, and then Ash, didn't you grab one from someone else?
There was another guy there. It was a bit tight on me. I'm not gonna lie.
No.
I was walking around a bit.
He's just got to wear whatever we got.
Yeah. And then we were wandering around, and then we just found the bin, didn't we? And that was it. Like, we were going to be dustmen for a little while. I think when we were walking, for the first 10-15 minutes, we were saying that we were dustmen, weren't we?
Yeah.
And then the police tried to stop us, and we were like, "Oh no, it's full of asbestos." And then from there, they were like, "Oh no, I ain't gonna get we don't want to open that." And then that was it. It was stuck for the whole event. And we were walking in and out of buildings. We were just saying "Oh, we're just clearing up asbestos and things." We walked past. I can't remember which group it was, but it was the opposite gang. And we were walking past and just taking photos and recording on our phones, literally conversations, and relaying it all back. And then didn't they give us a load of taskings as well as the asbestos people?
They did towards the end, didn't they? Because then we got told to make sure certain things were in certain buildings and stuff like that, weren't it?
Yeah.
So I know you were ferrying around various guns and assets and stuff within the bin.
Yeah. So I think at one point we had all the drugs, all the money, and about 12 guns, and we had to get them to loads of different locations, and we were like, if we get stopped, we're done.
End of the day.
Yeah. And they literally, as soon as everyone saw us, they were like backing away, thinking that we had asbestos in the bin. It was brilliant.
I think what could have sold it more is a mask, just wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I'm so glad someone wasn't actually a professional asbestos remover. Cover blown.
I mean, this is the thing. It doesn't take much. The one that immediately sprang to my mind when we were sort of kind of prepping the episode was, I've now deployed this multiple times, and I know I've talked about it on the show, but just a simple beggar. Mm-hmm. If you can just blend in and basically become just part of the street furniture, people don't really know what to do. I've been to a number of events where I've kind of deployed this beggar approach where I'm a mute beggar. I don't really speak. It was appropriate to both locations in terms of the storyline, the kind of general setting, and everything like that, and where it was all based. And I mean, the latest one we did were Apocalypse Airsoft. The Blue 4 forces. I'm literally sitting at their front gate with 2 grenades secreted on my body. That they've done kind of a half-assed pat down of me and not found them because I've got them tucked in a schmag around my neck. So they didn't know they were there. And I'm literally just sitting outside, just biding my time. They're coming in and out of the gate. Once or twice, the people on security are kind of like eyeing me up, but they're like, they genuinely don't know what to do because it's just, there's no kind of SOP in place for dealing with that. They didn't move me on. If they did move me on, just slouch and crumple and just ragdoll your body. Just make them have to carry you out, which for me is obviously a massive advantage because it's harder to remove me. But it works really well. But I mean, I've been a number of different roles. We've had American tourists where we just dressed up basically in just civvy gear and just wandering around taking photos of stuff. I've been my favourite one is Bernard Lafoe because I've created little characters for all of these people. But Bernard Lafoe is French or Swiss for Bernard the Fake. Basically, Ash has just gone dark mode.
Yeah, my lights died for some reason. Hold on.
But yeah, basically, it was a DEA event, and we were kind of trying to track down the cartel leaders. And at one point, I'm wandering around as this kind of Swiss doctor. I'm wearing Polish camo. I've got like doctor epaulets and stuff on there. I've got like a big medical bag and things like that. And then I bumped into a couple of cartel guys wandering around, and they were like, "Oh, do you want to buy drugs?" So what we managed to do is, because I also had a radio in my bag, I kind of conversed with them a little bit, ascertained they had quite a large haul of drugs on them, got about 20 metres away, and then coordinated with the rest of my DEA team to go and apprehend them, because we knew they had all the drugs on them. And it's little things like that that can work really well and to your advantage in game to work out, where bits and pieces are, little intel and taskings and stuff like that.
But also, it's quite fun from an organiser's point of view as well. So when we did our Op Phoenix event, and Lance just turned around and went, "I'm just going to be a wild man," and didn't tell you or me, and just appeared out the woods as a wild man, and everyone was like, "I don't know what to do in it. Like, generally, what's happening?" And then everyone just stayed away from him. Like, it was
well, that's hilarious. Because he was coughing, and we thought he was infected. But I mean, the thing is, obviously, as the event organisers, we were like, okay, cool, this is a dynamic event. We can throw these things in there, so that's not really a problem, and then we can kind of roll with it. From a player perspective, they've not been in any way alerted to any of this, and all of a sudden, Lance, they haven't seen Lance, I don't think, up until this point, and all of a sudden, he just comes out of the woods with a skull on a stick, coughing, like not really talking to anyone, and then writing by way of like scribbling words into a notepad. And we're like, okay. And the guy's just panicked. So it is things like that, it makes a massive difference for the show, for the event, basically.
Surprising how much fun you can have with it, though, as well, isn't it? Like,
massively.
Yeah.
Massively. I mean, the thing is, firstly, you get to go and, I mean, if you're a little bit dramatic anyway, it plays right into your wheelhouse, doesn't it? Really, let's be fair. We all like dressing up. We all know that. But role play does come easier to some than others. I appreciate that. But you don't have to talk. Think about ways if there's things that you don't like doing, just don't do it. Play a role that skirts around the awkward stuff.
Yes,
you don't have to go and portray an opera singer and go and stand in the middle of the woods singing opera. Right?
But then also,
and they've. Go on.
But then also as well, it's like, you can go the other way with it. So, it can become a bit of a, like, if you're not going to commit to it fully, like when we, I can't remember what event it was. I think it was one of the first Defiant events, and they were walking around with like pistols and stuff, and they were saying that they were owl watchers.
Yeah,
like it was funny to start off with, but then it went on that little bit too long, and like it's still probably one of the funniest moments of the event, and it's a memorable one. But I think it withdrew from the scene that they were trying to set. So you do have to be careful with it as well, that you don't tread on pre-planned organizer, because I think it was one of us that we were like pushing them back because we were
so we'd formed a perimeter. Yeah, we'd formed a perimeter around the downed helicopter, and we were pulling the pilot out into the extraction stretcher or whatever, that we then carried him away. But there's these guys literally wandering around with they were armed, effectively saying, "Oh no, I want to get through. I'm an owl watcher." Something you're not getting through. Yeah. This is a downed helicopter. We're dealing with a casualty. I don't care if you want to watch some owls. Fuck off. Yeah, I mean it's a challenging one. You do have to be practical with it. And this is why I always suggest, like, if you're going to have these weird and wonderful ideas, it's worth running them past the organizer first. Because for starters, if you've got, I don't know, say you're running an event where there's already a local police force, and then you rock up going, "Oh, I want to dress up as the police." Well, that won't work because there's already police. You might be dressed up as a completely different police set or something like that, I mean, Op Bork, I think, was the latest one with Defiant, which from what I've heard from that, the role play and that was absolutely astounding.
Yeah, it was meant to be really good.
And I'm really disappointed we missed that. But I mean, I've done events where there's a full fruit and veg stand. Like literally someone, I don't know where they got it all from, but they literally rocked up with a load of fruit. And then at one point they delivered a load of fruit to the Blue 4, which had a Mark 5 in the middle of it, or an electronic debt. So basically they put this pile of fruit down. Someone's kind of gone to like talk to them, turn around to look at it, and the fruit has just exploded everywhere.
Oh, brilliant.
Which was just fantastic. So, it has to be done properly and you have to commit to it. But yeah. Lanav Challenge, it was Midnight Howlers at Op Phoenix that got me. So again, that was completely off book. In that I'd said to because Andy, Lance, and I were obviously kind of running the event and sort of feeding information to various people, like, oh yeah, come and like shit up this team for a little bit. So a load of the Civ Pop just started howling in the wood, which freaked everyone out because no one again knew what was going on.
Yeah, because it freaked me out because at that point when they started doing it, Lance had buggered off to go to work. So there's me literally underneath this canvas, like this tiny little canvas awning, so I didn't get wet. Sitting there just listening to silence on the radios, and then all of a sudden this howling just broke out. I was like, why am I doing this? I'm freezing cold. They've told me I'm not allowed to fire.
And now I'm a little bit scared.
And now this bunch of idiots are howling like lunatics. And then my radio started blaring up going, is that you guys howling? And they're like, no, we're meant to be quiet. Get off the radio. And then they were having an argument amongst themselves. And I was like, oh, I'm going to bed. I was like, sort yourselves out until the morning.
John Stockman, welcome. 2004 at Southport Leisure Lakes. At Southport Leisure Lakes, it was a weekender event, and there was 3 factions. A bunch of us from all 3 factions formed a road group on the last day. That was a giggle. Yeah, be careful. Be careful if you just start completely going rogue with an event. Like again, we've been to events where members of I won't say which event it was, but members of the Op4 basically got a bit fed up. So they came over and went, look, do you want us to just walk you into our base? Like, okay. And that caused absolute chaos. So yeah, you have to be careful a little bit that you obviously don't ruin the event and any pre-planned stuff, because that would obviously cause stress for the organisers. But it sounds good, and ultimately, if the game allows, then crack on.
Yeah,
go for it. Ross says, yeah, was there at Bork. Roleplay was insane. Had pink lemonade as our medicine and offered to put invoices for construction workers to our command. Saw Big Bombuska James walking around too. Amazing.
Nice.
Fantastic. I mean, this is the thing, little things like, I mean, I know we're sort of deviating a little bit, but the whole premise of this is that you can blend in and build that kind of role play aspect. So if you've already got a lot of role play going on, if you then start wandering around as like just buying fruit and veg from a fruit and veg stand, you can get close to people without looking too innocuous. If you start walking up to people and just sort of standing there next to them looking awkward, then of course people are going to want to get you out of their personal space, because ultimately that's weird. Don't do that.
Yeah.
So do you think that some events just don't offer that chance to do that sort of roleplay then?
Oh no, definitely not. Definitely not. If you've got a force on force event, if you just rock up with a force on force event and then all of a sudden you've just got one lone civilian wandering around, well, it's going to look a bit strange, isn't it? Like it's not going to be appropriate. But
it's like we did an event with it was with Rift. It was one of their battle sim events, and at the time, I think you Ash, I think you were there. I was sponsored by Valkyrie BBs when they had decent BBs. So I had a load of BBs in the boot of the car. So I just started wandering around just selling BBs.
No, I missed
information.
That one.
Was you not on that one? That was hilarious.
Because I literally that was a Redcon as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, I literally just had a bag full of BBs, and I was just walking around going, "BBs for information." And people were like, "Yeah, all right."
Yeah. I mean, honestly, with any role play, we'll move on a little bit, but with any role play aspect, the closer that you can get to sort of specific targets or forces, or within certain defensive lines, then it's going to be more advantage for recording information. If you can get proper clever, then obviously like hidden earpieces, sort of bone conduction mics and everything like that are quite good if you can conceal your head in some way to allow that. Even just having a phone that you can text on, or record video and stuff like that. Like, it's all things that will kind of build up that picture, and it helps the if the event is set up for it, it helps the organisation and stuff.
Yeah.
But and just get involved with it.
Yeah. The one thing though is, if you are going to be doing a sort of look-see role play, make sure that you take your tactical gear off, because I've literally seen players go for a look-see, and they start playing up with, like, they start role playing, and you're like, but you're still wearing like your camo trousers and your
still got a plate carrier on,
like with your team patch on it. Like, I'm not buying this. Like, you're done. Like, and you just
kind of had that this weekend. I felt a little bit defiant, because so on the second day it was a little bit more serious, and the Op4 element could walk around like civvies, but there was people on there that you could see. They've got a poncho on, but you can see clearly a defined shape of a backpack and an outline of a plate carrier under the poncho and stuff like that. It's like, I want to like, just put you down, and that's it, job done. And there's other people walking around with belts on and stuff like that. But a few of them were like proper, all dekitted. They're in their same green like uniform and stuff like that, because let's face it, it's hard to change clothes in the middle of the field, isn't it? But there's a few people that actually went full like dekitted and did it properly, and then there's other people, like you say, half-assing it and stuff like that. It was a little bit mixed match.
It's handy as well when you've got a very clear defined AO. I mean, the APOC event. Don't get me wrong, it was a reasonable event for what it was, and I'm not putting it down. But when we were asking sort of what style of event it was, we were told it was a kind of cross between Star Wars, set in the Middle East, but it could be Britain. And it's like, I don't know how to process that. That's too much information.
So you was on Tatooine with a city.
No, so what they meant by when they said it was kind of like based on Star Wars, they were talking about the storyline. So it was nothing to do with the AO, but that's confused.
Blackpool and
I mean, I went dressed as a full Ewok, and I just got absolutely ridiculed for the weekend. But yeah, I mean, I've done events where literally I've got full paperwork printed up, like proper, like looking fake IDs. I was a journalist. I was a journalist for one event, which wasn't actually a role play. It was a role play thing, but it wasn't gameplay related. It was just to basically rock up and take pictures. But rather than just rock up in like a high-vis vest with a camera, I went as a full-on journalist. So I had the plate carrier, I've got ID badges, I had a little document as if it had all my paperwork that had just flown out there. So I had plane tickets, I had a letter from the MOD that allowed me to be there. And I remember when I was stopped and searched for the first time, because again, Bluffs didn't know who I was. They'd kind of been told to go and meet someone. So they met me, I'm being searched through, and they're going through all the paperwork, and I completely blew the minds of the people reading it, because they were like, what the hell is all of this? Like proper detailed paperwork and all of that. So, yeah.
But then that adds something for them as well, doesn't it?
Exactly. And it's,
you're not
it doesn't
play for yourself, I find.
It doesn't take much, and it just makes it more interesting,
one of the courses with JBG is I was a civilian in the hall, and I'm just in a corner, hooded down and stuff like that, hands in the pocket, and I'm just rocking backwards and forwards like a complete shock, and they didn't know what to do. They were a bit confused.
Everyone got angry with Steve, the shop owner. I thoroughly enjoyed that, and I escaped twice. Useless.
Right, let's move on from the kind of roleplay things. We'll just go to Ross quickly. Roleplay makes and breaks MilSim. It's amazing when it's done right. Good break from force on force stuff. Wholeheartedly agree. Massively agree.
Yeah.
Right, so the kind of the next bit we want to kind of move on to then is, so we kind of talked about how you can blend in to get into a location. I mean, the other option is you literally just come in tactical force on force style, at night, sneak into a building and just set up a location, like a full-on static observation post there. So you don't have to blend in, but it does just make it a little bit more interesting. But we're talking about setting up now an observation post indoors. So, I mean, one of the main things is obviously finding the right building with the floor and angles, exits, cover, white netting for silhouette concealment, something that, is not always considered. Although what I would say is, and I don't know about you guys, but if you go to an event at a location where the rest of the buildings are all completely burnt out and everything like that, and just hollow carcasses, and then you look up and there's a building with just white netting in one window, you are going to kind of go, well, that's a bit strange.
Yeah, but that's kind of where the netting that's behind you.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Just a little bit further back in the room, that sort of netting, it just hides your silhouette and everything like that.
Or just go around with lots of netting and put it in other windows.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Because also as well, when they're reading it out, they'll be like, the building with the white netting, and they'll be like, which one? There's many now.
Literally got your mum sitting there crocheting curtains out of lace for the last 3 months. So yeah, I mean, as well, managing shadows, reflections, and light bleed. Like light discipline's a massive thing. Sound discipline, noise discipline is also incredibly important. Things like your footsteps, object drops, coughs, sneezing, farting, giggles, making jokes, anything like that. Like it massively affects your potential concealment. Oh yeah,
so you got a cough. Got a cough. Velcro comes off. You got.
But like,
just shout, it's not Velcro as you rip it
open. This is your imagination. But we had that before. Like me and Ash have had that because we were talking about it just before the show because we couldn't remember the site name. Camp Sparta.
Yes.
And we had managed to get like right behind, basically like almost right next door to their HQ building. And we were sat there just relaying information back to Zero. And they must have swept the building 2 or 3 times, but they were always going from the entrance that was closest to their HQ and clearing through that way. And we were in the room right above the first door, so they never went backwards. But you could hear them talking like downstairs, and like we were just sat there, and we came up with a key code on the mic, so we weren't saying anything. And it was literally, you could hear everything that they were saying there, and we could look as soon as they were gone out the building. We literally relayed all the information that they were talking about down. So even when you're moving out, be mindful that someone might be listening to you as well, I reckon. But that was a good one because literally we set up, like we were the only team that had managed to push that far. So we were sort of like coordinating like the last sort of firefight for the weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, so that basically, I think the premise was there was going to be a big deal down in the center of the site, and we was in the perfect building to watch over the whole thing. To the point that when it did kick off, we got told to come out, and we literally came out behind the whole of the enemy, and they didn't know what was going on as well.
Yeah. But the funny thing was they cleared that building. How many times did they walk through that
had
building?
contact in that building as well, because they did come upstairs once, and it's like I've poked my head out of a far door, and they've seen it, and they've all rushed towards me. I think Andy and Lewis shot 2 of them in the side.
Yeah.
And then Dom came from behind them out of the dark room and shot the last one. And then about 30 minutes later, we hear footsteps again in the thing, and then we've all gone silent. And you hear Nah, they won't be upstairs still. They carried on.
And we're like, and that was the point when, like, because I started wetting myself, and Dom was like, "You shut up over the radio," and I'm like, I genuinely can't.
Yeah. I mean, that's an absolute perfect example of you've managed to obviously infiltrate to a location of significant advantage, and then just through sheer lack of security, I mean, this is the thing. You don't. This is at this point the role play's gone out the window. You don't need any role play there. It's just literally acting in a certain way that's enabled you to gain that information.
Yeah. I mean, like when you talk about being inconspicuous and not having kit on and stuff like that, it's some scenarios like that where you're going into a hostile area that you've got to hide it, and you're gonna be wearing full kit anyway, no matter what. And it's just a case of taking it slow and steady, moving from room to room, building to building, when you can see it's clear, instead of just pelting it straight towards it.
But when we moved into that building, we were genuinely surprised that they didn't have a FOB or like anything in there, like any sort of sentry or any sort of lookout in that building.
Yeah, I mean, just a regular perimeter sweep.
Yeah,
just having a team just like, right, check the same things over and over again just stops that from happening.
Yeah,
but to be fair, they were a cartels type team, so they weren't.
I disagree on that point. I keep getting told this.
Don't get me wrong. People don't play it like that, though, do they?
No, I know. That's why I never understand that. I constantly get told that, oh, well, you're a cartel, so there's no organisation there. So I'm sorry, but Pablo Escobar could not become one of the most richest people in the world through complete circumstance.
Exactly.
I mean, they're probably more likely to do patrols than
they own submarines. Unorganised people can't build submarines. I can't build a submarine.
I mean, it's just the airtight tube.
Yeah, but still, there's stuff in that, and being able to coordinate that and then get it from one country to another,
or just down.
JB brought up a good point about netting. I'll just come back to that. Otherwise, I'll start going on submarines. JB says, don't always use white netting in an urban op. Many variables to consider, from a precasted shadow, colour of the wall behind you, and even the position of the sun between yourself and the target.
Oh, yeah.
So, good shout.
So if that's the JB I think it is, he's going to be doing a lot of teaching. Was it next weekend? Or the weekend after?
Weekend after.
Weekend after. I hope better not be next weekend, because otherwise I'm not going to have everything packed.
Weekend after.
Yeah. There was another thing to consider as well with setting up. Let me just find it.
While you're looking for that, also as well, if you are doing more of like a shooting role out the windows or anything at all, my biggest bugbear of all time is muzzle sticking out the window.
Yes.
It's just, you might as well just hold a flag up. It's like, set yourself back. I've seen lads that have been literally like they've got a full sniper set up, and they've moved a table so they can literally just put rest the rifle there, and then they've thrown a cam net over the top of the rifle, so it's not a visible rifle, and they've just sat there waiting for what they need to do, and we were security for them. And they genuinely, he sat there for about 5 hours, and I was like, are you asleep?
One thing missing from that is the puddle of wee around him.
Yeah, I think he had a catheter in at that point.
That actually was one of the things with OPs. So obviously sustainment. Obviously consider your toilets, pee bottles, breaks. I mean, ultimately, worst comes to worst, someone potentially will need to have a poo, and it's how you obviously manage that. So consider that. I think dog poo bags,
adult
are one
diapers.
of the best things.
Adult diapers. Also, silent foods.
Yes.
Yep.
if you're going to take snacks, don't take a packet of crisps. Don't take popping candy. Yeah, right.
For a great list of what not to take, go look at local cinema food.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And don't take a fizzy drink, because obviously you're naturally, yeah. But also as well, like
you're gonna burp.
You're gonna burp. So just take water.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do it. Like I've literally been to like where actually it was at it was the last time I played at Longmoor, and they'd set up a OP in one of the buildings, and we were going through and just like dropping off some ammo and stuff for them, and literally it looked like they were having a tea party. They had the jet boil going. They had like there was steam coming out the windows, like where they've been boiling the kettle. They'd have crisp packets all on the floor. I was like, "This is mental." Like what are you hoping to achieve? And like, shh, we don't want them to know where we are. I was like, "You're using a jet boil, and you can literally see the steam coming out the window. Like people know you're in it." And we tried really hard not to be seen, and you're just waving a flag out the window.
Have you guys seen the film? Warfare?
Is that the new one that's come out?
Yeah,
I haven't seen it yet.
Right, so
you need to watch it, Andy, for starters.
It is good. I mean, it's not. I would say it's not your traditional action film. Is it? It's. I won't break it down. I won't ruin the film for anybody. But it's the premise is basically it's following an American tasking, basically set up an OP, and then for whatever reason they have to crash the OP and get out. But the way that they are portraying that, I mean, again, I've got no practical experience to line that up to. But I mean, if you've watched it as well, Ash, then hopefully you might agree. But it looks to be like quite a realistic portrayal of what they would be doing in that scenario. Mm-hmm. But you've got to remember that in airsoft, everything is smaller. There's so much less distance potentially between you and the people that you're sniping or anything like that, because ultimately you don't have the range of a kilometre being able to take out a target. You know, you are stuck to 150 metres, 200 metres at the absolute most.
Yeah. So one thing with that movie is after I watched it, I read a bit more into it. It's based on a true story, and most of the people that were actually in that environment and in that situation at the time were part of the crew that was helping it. And if more than one person doesn't remember something happening, it was cut from the film.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
So yeah, so it wasn't like, oh, I remember this happening, put that in. It was like, no, that didn't happen, or like 3 or 4 people say that didn't happen. That was it. It wasn't there. It couldn't be. So so I would expect the portrayal of the film itself to be very close to what you'd expect it to be, in a sense.
And if you want to see bits of the movie set, we have them at Blackstone getting fitted to the walls. Tony managed to get set pieces from that movie.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Did he manage to get the vehicles that went in and out for Redcon?
I wish. Yeah. No, he got the sniper hole. Apparently, the sniper hole. Everyone should know that sniper hole.
Is that now mounted in the toilets?
No, it's mounted. It's going to be mounted up on the wall.
That's cool. That's cool. But I mean, there's the reason I brought it up. There's quite a good portrayal in that of like one of the guys that's on Overwatch needs to piss, so he rotates out with someone else, and then he's just pissing in the corner in a bottle, basically. Mm-hmm. But the differences in kind of noise and everything like that, I got the impression in a few times throughout the film where they were like having a bit of a chat to each other at kind of lowish volume talking. But again, within an airsoft environment where you don't have like a proper busy like town or city or wherever you're in going on, little noises in quiet buildings are going to travel a long way. So it's a little bit different, and you have to consider obviously the scale for airsoft. But, yeah, definitely no noisy foods, pissing in bottles, and security rotation as well. So staying alert and rested. You know, there's no point having the same person on Overwatch for 5 hours, realistically, because firstly they'll get bored. You know, humans need stimulus. And if you just got someone laying there doing nothing for 5 hours, then that's going to potentially sort of coma-inducing almost. So rotate out, obviously.
I've seen lads go out with like a pen and paper, or like the white ones where you just lift the film off, so they can write notes to each other. I've always thought that was quite a cool idea.
Yeah.
Oh, no, pen and paper's part of my kit now anyway. Got handed it once on a MilSim, and that's it. It stayed there. I've been using it ever since.
Yeah,
I've bought an A5. I've bought an A5 pad because I normally run A6. But the JBG event next 2 weeks' time called for A5, so I was like, I'm going to upgrade. I'm going to get myself some Right in the Rain A5. Very chuffed with that.
But yeah, pick JB's brain in 2 weeks' time as much as you can. He fountain of knowledge and that stuff. It's going to be awesome for you guys. I'm still
tempted to set up our OP with. I mean, I don't know exactly what we're doing, but I was wondering if we're going to have an OP and then like an LUP. I was wondering about bringing the field telephone so we can actually have a phone line running between them. Because I've got these field telephones.
You've got like 4 or 5
I use them. Ring, ring. Hello.
Yeah. Shh. Just dial Mike.
But where it goes to an operator, and he's got to just.
Yeah. talking to dial as well. Like a lot of people that I've seen, just genuinely playing airsoft, is that a lot of people tend to have like either their phone on their chest or on their wrist or at an accessible pocket. But a lot of people have it so that when it rings, their light flashes, or if they get a text message, their light flashes. Just remember to turn it off, boys and girls. Because if you're in a dark room and your phone gets a text message and it goes beep, 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 like,
but even the facial recognition for unlocking it, like the little IR sensor or whatever like that, that's kind of pulsing to scan your face. You know, that can be seen. I've seen, I think it was Dirty Civilian.
He's done a couple of videos.
Done some testing on that, and you can see that from a very long way away. And again, smoking, that's another one to consider for light discipline. And also, I mean, I don't know if this is an actual thing, but smell discipline. Because realistically, if someone's having a fag or a vape, if you've got like a really fruity smelling vape, for example, like you, Andy, and you're hiding in a building, and then you're wandering through the building, I smell raspberries. It's either that you're going to think you're having a stroke, or there's a high chance that someone's in there.
Yeah, just get a toast flavoured vape, and then everyone who walks in the building thinks that they're going to...
I'm dying.
Don't go in that building, it gives you strokes.
Yeah. The other thing with obviously setting up observation posts are things like managing the tech that you've got in there. So optics, radios, cameras, just make sure the visible light and screens on them are sort of appropriately managed and dealt with, so you're not going to get loads of glare coming off of them if like light scans around. I mean, like IR things is really simple, but if you've got IR patches or something on your boonie or whatever you're wearing in location and someone just scans round, you know, we've all seen a cat under a torchlight, like their eyes just light up in the darkness with not a lot of throw on the torch getting to them, and that will just give that position away straight away. So
the one thing I tend to do is if I am setting up sort of an OP, is I tend to, especially in an urban one, is I tend to clear the floor. Like we all know a lot of airsoft sites are filthy, but how many times have you gone into a building, trod on a BB, and the BB's gone flying off and hit something, and it makes that like it hits something metal.
A scatter noise as it goes across the floor.
So if you're going to be in one location for a little while, I always tend to just kind of like kick like bits of broken glass, bits of debris, just to the edges, just so you're not, especially if you're running no light at all. All you need is just to kick it over while someone's walking past, and they're going to know exactly where you are.
Another reason for kicking BBs out of the way, if you're in a location where you're going to kneel and it's a hardwood floor or something like that, and you don't have knee pads on,
get
rid of the BB because it is worse than Lego.
go around with a small dustpan and brush.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's that sound? It's a snake.
Yeah. Get one of those silent Dysons. But that's where your role playing comes in, because you de-kit all your kit and you go, lemon pledge?
Put the French maid outfit on.
Yeah, French maid outfit underneath your kit. But no, like having a tidy OP or like FOB or something, or like somewhere where you're just hunkering down for a bit is always a good little tactic, especially if you're going to be sitting there for a little while. The last thing, like you said, it's worse than Lego. The last thing you want to do is sit on like a half-burnt pyro or something.
Yeah.
But it's also, I mean, on top of that as well, you don't want to be having a light necessarily to be scanning around trying to find everything that you need. You know, a lot of one of the Mac events from Defiant, I know someone was telling me about it from the Op4 side of things, and they could just see the building across the way just lighting up red every once in a while. Because yes, red light is obviously better for maintaining night vision, but red light still travels. And if you light up a room with red light, you know, unless you're running a brothel, you know, it's going to be an identifier that building is occupied, potentially by people that don't want to be using white light. You know, so, you know, things like the JBG tab pools for marking kit. You can obviously get like the night eyes, like the you know, the 11-year glow light things that you can mark kit with.
Yeah.
We've talked about the pipe cleaners. I think it was you, Ash, talking about pipe cleaners, or Jake. No, it was Randy.
Right.
Was saying about pipe cleaners on his kit. So little things like that. Just lay your kit out, make sure you know where it is, and that way, if you need something, you don't have to be sitting there fiddling about in the night trying to find it. You can reach for it. You've got a rough idea, feel for it, then you know what you're grabbing, and then you've got it. So
yeah. I'd quite like JBG to bring out some different coloured tadpoles as well. Just so you can mark things with different colours, like maybe a red one.
JB's listening.
I thought that would be quite, because for me, especially on my front, especially if I'm running an LMG, like I know my left and right. But if I put it, if I put my plate carrier down just to get a bit of a rest, when I look at it, my brain just goes, which one's the left one? Because it's so used to being on me, I just look at it and go, ah, shit. Oh, more tadpoles are in.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
In planning. JB, we mentioned that about the... Oh, no, we didn't. JB also said smell is one of the forgotten S's, especially in a woodland environment. After shaved and deodorant can be smelt from a very long way away. Especially some of that Lynx Africa and stuff that you find people wearing, like there are either, and it's a challenge because there's a lot of people at airsoft events that you think, please put some deodorant on.
Yes, but that's just as bad in my opinion. Just watch. Like, it's not hard. You can go from one extreme and be a stinky Betty of the badness, and then go, oh, I need to cover it with deodorant, and then you smell like a rosemary bush. Find the middle ground, people. Don't stink out your teammates. Don't give away your position with Lynx Africa.
Yeah. Cool Time Samurai, if you can then make everyone on your team pack the same kit in the same order, in the same packs, you can find your mate's keys. That's a good way. I mean, I think the starter is obviously if you know where your stuff is and you can make it identifiable in an easy way. So, for example, the tadpoles work well because it's a physical thing you can see. You don't have to start feeling for zips or anything. Because if you approach a pouch, for example, where a pouch can zip up in multiple different ways, you don't necessarily know how it works. If you can see a light when you're trying to grab stuff, then obviously you can grab that and then they work from there.
Definitely.
But yeah, I mean, ultimately, if you could get everybody to have everything in the same place, it would be a cracking idea.
Not only that, they offer a certain different texture as well. Those little tadpoles, but it's a little rubber ring, and that glows. But
you got some there.
Yes, I have. I'm trying to get them out of the packet.
Oh, all my kit's downstairs.
So, just
making big
ring.
cash.
Little ring. And that, just
Ash
on a
loves
zip.
a rubber ring.
Hamish did, like, on the weekend almost
do they come in, down at the sizes, Ash?
Dropped everything. So yeah, just a simple thing, just going on to your zips, stuff like that. Just being able to hide it just by feel as well, just because you've got that extra bit there that's differentiate from the rest of the zips on the bag and whatnot. But yeah, they're being great.
I've got one on my top zip. I've only got one, so you know on the Agilite, like drop down pouch, they've got the two. I've only put one on the top one because I always keep the zips on the same side, so it doesn't look like a massive glowing tree. But then I've put one on the because I was on the way I've got mine, I can only undo one side for quick release. So I've just put one on that. So if in an emergency and it is dark, people can see clearly that that's the side that pulls off, and then just one on my back zip.
Yeah, I mean, when we did the Epsom Tunnels night course and stuff like that, the amount of people that had like a tadpole on a zip on their back panel and stuff like that, and how much it helped to maneuver around in the darkness because of that, because you can see the person in front of you a bit easier and whatnot. It's awesome for that as well.
Yeah, that's good, Joe. Yeah, I mean, I've done it with the fishing lures, or I mean, the worst you can do it with the chem light, but you have to tape up so much of the chem light to just leave the little band, because otherwise you don't want to have a whole chem light stuck down your back because you'd be like, oh look, I'm over here.
I bought a load of the fishing ones. I actually find that because obviously they're for fishing for like you throw them in the dark quite far away, they're actually quite bright for the size of them. So I still tend to put like a little bit of tape around them and just stick them in a bit of molly or something. But since I've got my tadpole or tadpoles, I haven't used it yet.
Well, a little trick with the fishing lures, and it's going to sound counterproductive. If you buy the cheaper ones, they generally don't always work, which is not ideal. But because they're I don't know if they're just older or something like that, but because they're that bit cheaper, the glow is a lot less, which means they're actually better for the purpose of which I've bought them for. So, little tip.
Buy cheap,
and it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Mr. Aggravation for something to say regarding BBs on the floor for something so small it kills your knees. And then also stinking at the end of the day is okay, but at the beginning is a no-no. James suggests spraying yourself wherever you need to mask a smell with vodka, as it covers up bad smells but doesn't leave an odour itself, something I learned from doing theatre stuff years ago. That's interesting. I'm gonna play around with that.
And that's it. As your body soaks it in over time.
Yeah. No, but I mean, things like cleaning plate carriers and stuff like that. Like one of the things I've always been conscious of. When I originally got my plate carrier, like my first one, I used to every once in a while when it got particularly ripe, strip everything down, take everything like all the bits and pieces off, and then uncut all the cords, the comms cables, everything like that, and basically wash it properly. But that's not ideal for having to do regularly because it's a pain. So if you can find a better solution, because I mean Febreze works, but Febreze generally has a smell to it.
I tend to take anything that can go bad, like any sort of metal items or anything, and I put it in the garden, spray it with a very watered down washing up solution, and then just put the hose on it and then let it dry for 2 days.
Yeah, I mean, dunking it in the bathtub.
Yeah.
Just soaking it to get all the dirt out.
I'm not allowed to put it in the bathtub anymore. Because last time I put it in the bathtub, it got the water turned a funny brown colour, but then stained the side of the bath. So That was
after a day at the Ridge.
Yeah. So there's a site called the Ridge, and it's just basically an old clay mine. And you look like you can pull up in the car park, and as soon as you get out, you're just covered in clay. Like you don't even have to play. You just like.
Do you find that with the Epsom tunnels at all? Because when I've played there before, there's obviously sections that are just bare bones chalk, and like if you lean against that and you come away, like you just wipe down one leg or whatever.
Yeah, so luckily, I didn't have that issue. I was more on the other side of the tunnels with some lads, and I didn't really get too much chalk on me or anything like that. I can't say. But then
Ash doesn't rest against walls. Ash is constant.
don't. You did not see me on the weekend. I was dead. I was dead to the world by the end of Saturday. That was a long slog Saturday.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the kind of tips of tools, I guess, a little bit. I mean, we've kind of covered them briefly, but I mean, I won't go into them in loads of detail, but things like binoculars with IR filters, binoculars with smartphone adapters can be quite handy because, again, if you can set a system up like a little camera or something like that where you don't have to be sitting behind it, you can be hidden out of the way and looking on a phone or something like that could be quite useful. Depending on the event, you might want to consider drones, depending on the legality of the event and the organizer and what their requirements are. Have you ever been to a game? I mean, this was an interesting one because it's an idea, but parabolic like listening devices and stuff like that, where you know the old school like dish on a little handle. Have you ever used one of those?
Never used one personally, but I think one of the Defiant ones implemented something like that, didn't they? On one of their Machiavellian events. Possibly.
I don't know.
I feel like I've heard the story.
I think it would be quite cool.
Yeah, I don't even know if they properly work. I mean, I assume they do because they are shown in sort of film and TV a lot. But
they're basically what the old school radars used to be in early detection systems for like World War II, ain't they? They're big cone with a small mic in the middle. They're just So they're bound to work. There's premise behind it working, so they must work.
I mean, you could theoretically go as far to start employing like little spy gadgets and stuff like that. Like there's a company that I found online years ago where you can put it's like a little magnetic box that you can basically attach under a table or anything like that, and it's got a SIM card in there, so it just places outgoing calls once it's set up. So literally, all you've got to do is just listen to the phone call, and it's just sitting there basically running the audio from that. It depends on the level of cost and expense and how much you want to go down that route. But if you can get a bug or a GPS device or even a smart tag, I've seen smart tags used for tracking.
A little tile, they're cheap.
Yeah, little bits of kit and stuff that you've had access to previously. You've slipped something in there, and then you can kind of monitor where it's going around the game zone, which is quite handy. Little things like that can add to it.
Like what Call Sign Samurai said, where he said security cameras, just remember to cover the IR light and put some camouflage on them. But that's where the trail lights are actually really good, like the trail cameras, because on a few of them you can actually turn off the IR sensor. Places like some of the Air Force bases and stuff where people play, where they have security cameras, the place is lit up with IR lights anyway. Camp Sparta used to be really bad for that because they put a load of new cameras in.
Yeah, it was perfect for night vision because you see miles.
Yeah, you could literally see everything because it was just the whole site was just IR illuminated. But you get some of that at HQ as well, from the
there's the industrial unit,
the warehouse behind the back. If they've put HQ there, when you're looking at that, the whole building, if you actually look at it, the whole building is silhouetted by IR light. It's really handy. But one thing on tools, like if you are setting up a like quite a permanent place, either FOB or OP. Consider tripods as well. So it's only you that's moving. You're not. So when you set it up, you set it back. Obviously you can make sure that you've got no glare on them, but once you're set up, you can pretty much keep the binoculars or camera or whatever just looking in the same direction, so you're not moving another thing that could catch the light.
Yeah,
and
it's slow movements as well. I mean, I'm sure you guys would agree, but if you've ever sat in the woods and played a skirmish day, the thing that your eyes pick up are quick movement. And it's when people are kind of like with their rifle, like doing stuff like that, like I can see you. Whereas if you're static and you want to look around, you use like the extent of your eyes first, and then if you've got to move your head a little bit, then sort of move slowly.
I mean that's again one of the 7 S's, isn't it? It's sudden movement, which plays a big part of.
Sounds like I won't need to go to the training at this point.
Nah,
I'll be there. I want to use my A5 pad.
It's going to be a really good weekend, and I still hit myself for not being able to make that one.
Yeah.
What the I can't make it.
Yeah.
I'm proper gutted.
Well, I'll do a feedback. We'll talk about it afterwards.
Yeah.
Damn.
Right. Of course.
Adults.
Sorry.
Damn adults having birthdays.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. So the actual tactics of reconnaissance. So, I mean, we've kind of talked about movement and stuff like that a little bit, but you could obviously consider standing still in doorways and shadows, or moving in crowds and stuff like that, for example. But what's the actual information that we're looking to gather? How do we record that? I don't know if you guys want to sort of chip in with your thoughts first.
So it kind of depends what you're doing. If you're moving through crowds and stuff like that, I think you've got to kind of train yourself to have a decent memory of what's happening, because you don't want to be noting something down. You don't want to be constantly getting your phone in and out, because again, why is that person always looking at their phone, sort of thing. You get that all the time in the cafe, don't you, and stuff like that. Why they keep putting their phone down and picking it back up? So you've got to have that sort of mindset of trying to remember shapes, objects, even smells again. And then once you get back to a place that's safe, then draw it all down and be able to pass the information on that way instead. It's a key thing especially when you're moving around. If you're in a stationary position, then whatever you get your hands on, that's not going to give you away, I guess.
I mean, with that, obviously, like a hidden earpiece or one of the bone conductors or something that doesn't stand out that you can cover up might help with that, maybe a little bit. But then you could look like a lunatic talking to yourself.
You know what you do need? You need ballistic rated Ray-Ban Metas.
Just Google Glass over your eyebrow.
Exactly. Everybody wears them these days. It won't be inconspicuous. It's be like, it's just some snobby kid over there.
Yeah, I mean, you can buy little like button cameras, and they're nothing. Like, you can literally buy them on Amazon. I think they're like they're probably not going to be the greatest, but I mean, that's going to give you a massive advantage anyway, isn't it? Like just having a little button camera somewhere, or
even just being on your phone. Just set your phone to record a video and then just wander around like that, talking on your phone.
Yeah, but not even that. Like, for someone a little bit more tech savvy, that was 60 quid off Amazon. You could probably butcher that a little bit and put it in a place that's a bit easier.
Where are you going to stick that?
But yeah,
Ashley's rubber ring.
But yeah, I mean, I say that's cheap. If you got the mindset to do it, you can take that part quite easily and probably turn it into something a bit easier and more hidden.
Yeah, because like obviously technology's come on loads now. So like the nanny cam things like that you get in bears. get the bear dirty and just leave the bear on the ground. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those at a sim event. If you walk past a bear that's like just chucked on the ground, you're not going to think anything of it. So even your equipment can do role play in a way. Because the nanny cams aren't that expensive. I think you can pick them up once again off Amazon for 20-30 quid.
Nav's going to show me his camera setup at the course. I hope you've got like a weird, wonderful thing secreted around your body.
Yeah. I am the camera.
I mean, the other things to sort of consider are, I mean, you interestingly both went down the kind of the digital recording route, but I mean, if you are, you know, break it back down to bare bones like pen and pencil, it's things like if you're in a static OP and you've got the capability of just sitting there and constantly taking notes, you know, having like a log book of things that you're recording. So, you know, if there's a certain person of interest that you are, I mean, it depends on the tasking, really. It depends on what information you're trying to gather. If you are just there as an effective sponge, just soaking up everything to just try and get an idea of like routine patterns of movement, or, you know, is there a building that's being used? People are dragging large bags in, stuff like that, or whether you are tracking in a certain individual. So you might have like a photo of the certain individual that you are trying to find. Once you've obviously built a profile up on them, you know, you're sort of trying to keep an eye out of where they're going. Things like range cards as well. You know, if you are setting up a static position, I think they're called range cards, that basically, you know, you've got potentially someone with a laser rangefinder or something like that, that you can get the distances of key things. You know, you've identified the building numbers that you can see in front of you. So you're not having to sit there and go, oh, right, hang on, they're going into building, and then you've got to look at the map or anything like that. You know, makes your life easier in terms of getting that information recorded quickly. I mean, if you're at Longmore, the buildings generally have the numbers on the side of them anyway, so that does help.
Yeah, but is it Jan Smart's Observatorium close?
Exactly, yeah. Which
that goes wrong quite often.
Oh, massively.
They're building one, and every raid's building one. There's no one's there. That's not the right building.
Yeah. Also, if you're, make sure that everyone is on the same page when doing the notes. So if you're keeping a logbook and the logbook is staying there, if you see someone like the first person, if they start using the 12-hour clock, make sure that everyone knows what the 12-hour clock is set at what point the 12-hour clock is set at. But if they start using the 12-hour clock, don't start writing down, oh, on the left side,
west. Yeah.
No, like, don't change it always, like, because otherwise, when you're reading it back, you'll be like, where is this? Like, where is it? Like, always have like a center point that you work from.
Yeah. Well, that again, I mean, if you've got a range card in front of you, it makes it easier to identify where, you know, because again, if people have identified a certain building or access point or something like that, you can say, you know, you start getting used to the fact that we know it's that access point, it's etc. etc. You can call it A or B, or you can start getting nomenclature with your notes, and it all makes sense.
Personally, I always use north, south, east, west, and because even if you go to a different location, you know where your OP was set up, and you instantly know that, right, well, I was facing that way, like that was the direction I was facing, and north's that way. So you can orientate it no matter where you are. You could take it home for 3 weeks and still know exactly which way to orientate it. If you start using the 12 o'clock system and stuff like that, then it could get a bit confusing.
Yeah, I mean, 12 o'clock only works when you have a fixed 12 o'clock point of reference, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, again, 12 o'clock could be your team leader. So if you're on a patrol, if you've got your point, or maybe not your team leader, but if you've got your point man out in front, generally they will probably be your 12 o'clock. And then everyone works off of that. So if you're in a column file, doesn't matter which way you've turned, left or right, you know where your 12 is, because it'd be directly in front of you. The number of people, I always enjoy this. Whenever you go skirmishing and you're in like a defensive position and people are like, they're on my 12. cool. I don't know where the hell you are. I know what you're saying. They're in front of you, but where are you? Because it's not been fixed, so it's just completely arbitrary datum system. Yeah.
The best one is when they say over there, but they
or behind that tree.
No, when they go, they're over there, but then turn to look at you, but don't keep their arm in that. They're over there. You're like, okay, narrow it down.
Or people don't understand units of measurement. That's another one. I mean, there was Johnny 600 who we went.
Yeah, but there are airsoft.
Yeah, the enemy is 600 yards away. It's like, are you in the car park? No, so in terms of movement and things and things that you might want to be considering. I mean, again, it does boil down to what your tasking is, but you want to kind of look at your human terrain mapping. So observing certain behaviours, routines, likely objectives. If you've got suspicious behaviour where, a fruit stand, everyone keeps rocking up to a fruit stand and dropping off a bag and then walking away with a pineapple, probably a little bit suspicious. If you are just sponging the situation, then it's worth just obviously noting everything down. And it might be that whatever small little bit of tidbit of information that you've picked up, whilst it doesn't seem important at that time, could be, it depends on whether you've got a hierarchy that it's being fed back to. But the more information that you can provide, then obviously, and the more useful information. If you start saying, "Oh, there's a bird that flew past my window suspiciously for the last 3 times," like okay, well done, but they're probably not in an airsoft game. Let's be honest with you.
It had 4 wings.
We don't have those little hummingbird drones.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was going to mention as well is that obviously you could potentially use civilians as scouts. So if you have if you can double up your intel with a combination of maybe like a static OP and then having someone dynamic out on the ground, it could be that, I don't know, you position your beggar at a location where you want to get a little bit more intel on actually out on the ground, but then you've got an Overwatch that's providing that support to them. So it might be that your intel is multifaceted as to how you're gathering that information. So right, we are coming slowly to the end. We've got probably about 15 or so minutes left until our scheduled end. But as you know, with this show, we do commonly tend to waffle on for several hours if we want to. If there are any specific questions in the chat, then please feel free to throw them in with a Q at the beginning.
Best to answer them with as little knowledge.
We'll try our best. What are your thoughts on? Here's an interesting one on using like a multi-level building for OPs. So would you? Let me phrase it differently. Would you rather be in a building on the second floor, or would you rather be on the ground floor of a building, assuming that you could realistically get the same intel? So you're going to achieve the tasking either way, because otherwise, I appreciate that with an upper floor building, you might have an advantage in terms of your field of view. But would you rather be on an upper floor building, or would you rather be on the lower ground floor of a building, assuming that you can maintain that same?
I would say
success.
For me personally, I prefer second floor, just from a defensive point of view as well. So if you are found, you can defend a second floor a lot longer to get time for your QRF, if you've got QRF, to come and get you back out with the intel that you've got. So from just purely from a defensive point of view, I would like second floor, please.
Yeah, I'd probably go second floor, but to expand on that a little bit more, are we talking like a single building, or is it like?
Well, this is kind of where I was going to toy with you a little bit. So I would agree with you both. I think the second floor from a defensive point of view, but what I was trying to get at is obviously consider your escape routes, because if you are in a second floor building and there's one set of stairs going up to the top, soon as the enemy are on that set of stairs, within the realms of airsoft, you're generally not like jumping out and abseiling down the side of the building, for example, or getting a heli evac. So your exit options are going to be limited by the stairs. Obviously, you can fight your way out and the like, but if you're trying to do it stealthy, if you were on the ground floor and you've got a capability of sort of 2 or 3 exits plus a window if needs be, then it allows you to leave that location quicker.
The only problem with being on the ground floor is your methods of concealment are more limited. You haven't got the depth of the room from the angles and stuff like that, have you?
No.
But yeah, you definitely want to be the higher floor you can be on. If it's a adjacent building or something somewhere else, you'd find a way of making it to the next building. Or if it's in a block of flats, you'd need to secure that floor to some degree. If it's just a single building and you've got enough men, then you'd have people downstairs, you'd have people upstairs, but downstairs would be probably curtains closed, I'd imagine, just so it's to some degree, so it's not easy to be seen into.
Yeah, I'd say
it's purely a security point of view at that point.
Yeah.
If you're trying to set up an OP downstairs, like the amount of additional problems that you're going to come across, someone walking someone walking past could just peer in and see you move, and that's it. You've done. Whereas someone just walking past, they're not going to peer through a second floor window.
No.
And as JB said, quoting the master that he is, Obi-Wan, I have the high ground.
Yeah. I mean, I think the risk to reward benefit of having an upper ground floor, or if you're off the first, the ground floor, then you're going to be an advantage. I mean, whilst obviously you've potentially got more evac routes, fundamentally, you could just have someone just accidentally just go, I want to wander through that building, and they're not even necessarily actively trying to find you. They're just wandering through the building. And then if they all of a sudden stumble on you taking a shit in your dog poo bag.
Yeah.
Wait, hang on.
but the a good example is, do you remember when we were at the Red Tide 3, I think it was, where you and me were the cartel leaders, when we had to get captured, and there was only 4 of us that made the final stand, and it got to the point where I just had a pistol and a couple of grenades, and I was holding the staircase just on my own, and I was like, I should really let them capture me at this point.
Just the one where Mike was on top of the racking.
Yeah.
And I was literally, everyone buggered off. One person got killed on the staircase, and I was like, great, I'm on my own. So I just kept shouting abuse down the staircase and just throwing the odd grenade now and again, and then shooting anyone that I could see. And I was like, I've had my fun now. So on your own, holding a staircase, if that's the only way up or down, you're as Obi-Wan says, you've got the high
ground. It just depends. All I was suggesting is obviously if you're trying to do it stealthy, then
but at that point you've been caught, haven't you? At that point, you're not doing stealthy. You're holding your position and you are calling for a QRF in theory, because your location has been compromised at that point. So stealthy goes out the window.
Exactly that.
Yeah. That's a good chat. There was another thought as well. So, I mean, we've obviously talked about the security aspect. I mean, I think it's fundamental that if you're going to be putting an OP in place, you need to obviously have consideration for what are the exit strategies. What are you going to do in terms of bumping out? Make sure that if you're going to crash the OP or anything like that. I mean, it depends on the event, because probably for the most part, you're not going to be too worried about leaving kit behind at that point. It might just be you just got to get out with the information that you collated, and then ultimately. But again, using warfare as an example, they were trying to make sure that they took everything out of there. So I mean, at one point they were collecting up sledgehammers and everything that was kind of just loosely laying around, and just sort of pulling all that kit together, so that when they needed to evac, they could literally just jump in the Bradleys.
So if you were setting up an
Good
OP,
film.
if you were setting up OP, say like second floor, H block, like you know the old H blocks that you have at RAF bases.
Yeah.
So you've got 2 flights of stairs coming up. What's the one bit of equipment that you are 100% taking for, let's say, you're just mapping out troop movements? What's the one bit of equipment that you would
I
take?
wasn't expecting the question to go down that route. I immediately went to, I thought you were going to say, what's the one bit of equipment that you take to secure yourself? And I was going to be like, LMG in the corridor, job done.
Whiteboard. Whiteboard.
Yeah.
Just so you can jot everything down, rub it out straight away. Just a small
Magnets.
whiteboard.
Moving things about. Yeah. I mean, a whiteboard's pretty handy, to be fair. I mean, you could go down the route, if we're going to talk fancy whiteboards, you could go down the route like the battle board type stuff, which is like, you know, it's all effectively like a self-contained pack, so you can just crash that out. Like, you don't necessarily want to be carrying a big board in and out of a location. It's obviously not the most stealthy.
Maybe one, probably.
Yeah, no, I assumed you were, but I just, for the purposes of the audience, like, most people know whiteboards from their school.
True.
Definitely a map as well. I mean, it depends. Are we talking that we've got maps and stuff like that, or
like, so you've got your standard kit, like you've got your radios and stuff, like your weapons, pens, pads. I was just thinking, like, what would be the one bit of kit that you would take?
I'll tell you, actually, I will go one step further than a whiteboard. I would suggest a tablet. If we're going to go down the route of like cost isn't necessarily an option or a hindrance, a tablet would be a much better solution than a whiteboard, because for starters, you can screen grab. If you've got like certain locations throughout the day, you can screen grab with timestamps effectively as to where the enemy were at certain times. So you could look to see if patterns were forming, and plus you can potentially send that information back. Whereas with a whiteboard, you'd have to effectively have a separate bit of kit, such as taking a picture of it and sending that off.
Yeah. But then saying that, if you're going to actually monitor troop movements, stuff like that, and I'd hate to get one out during an airsoft game for this role, but a decent camera.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're far enough away,
a bit of zoom and stuff like that on it as well. But then trusting airsofters not to shoot that is another matter altogether. Oh, there's a clip.
There's a James Bond film, and I can't remember which one it is, but he is evading the enemy, doing some stealthy stuff, and he's got this little camera. I don't know if anyone remembers it. It's like he's in a snowy environment, like up about.
Is it not GoldenEye?
Yeah,
it might be, but he deploys the little camera up, and then the camera starts like spanning around like that. And I really want to have that on a cable with a little tablet, so that you could effectively, you don't have to necessarily break cover or anything like that. You just literally sit there.
You can buy them.
You'd have to have a super quiet motor, because otherwise you just hear.
So you can buy it. So, like, we literally use them for work. Like, you can get.
Yeah, no, I know you can buy the pan tilt stuff and everything like that. But what I've been trying to find, I actually have spent a bit of time researching this. I've been trying to find like something with a reasonable zoom quality that's like a good quality picture. Because obviously, you know, it's all good and well having a camera that's just like a normal CCTV thing that you can pan, but you want to have that detailed zoom so that you can see like a good 20 or 30 meters, like 200, 300 meters away. And then you can pick up faces and stuff like that, and then screenshot it and send it off.
Just need your brother's drone.
Yeah. I mean, you could literally just stick that, to be fair, on a tripod.
I'll send you some links, Mike.
Okay. I have no money, so please don't send me links at the moment. Like I can't afford these things. But,
no, but it's a camera, so we could put it through on Superflow.
Okay, well, Superflow's got money at the moment.
Yeah, well, that's true. But it's
right. Yeah, true. But yeah, so I mean, in terms of things that you want to pick up, you know, like not necessarily weather, I would have said, because again, if you're in airsoft event, the weather's probably the same where your command structure is or where you are. But the more information that you can soak up, the better. So hopefully we have done Urban Recon Recce justice tonight. I haven't seen too many people shouting at us in the chat, so that's good.
I mean, JB hasn't shouted at us, so
that's a good sign.
That is, I mean, we must be touching on something there.
Hopefully either next week or the week after, Lance will be back and we will do Woodland Recce as well, because there's obviously a slight difference between the kind of the approaches and tactics that you would use sort of between those two scenarios. But if you have any questions in the meantime, you can get in touch with us on our email of nofochat@hotmail.com. Our Instagram is @November_Foxtrot_NoFo, and the website is novemberfoxtrot.co.uk. You can also get in touch with us on our own individual Instagrams at 9volt Airsoft. What's that size? At 9volt Airsoft for myself, at @_Quartermaster for Andy, at 1legion.uk_Pegasus for Ash, or at the_Punish_1_ for Lance.
You learned Ashley's pretty quick. Well done.
No, he's reading it off the screen.
I was only reading it on the screen.
Did you not hit the pause?
No, I didn't.
I had to see the dot. I couldn't see that. So I mean, we obviously have our closing words. Does anybody want to pick them up specifically this week?
Come on, you haven't had one for a while.
Oh, okay.
Uno reverse.
I want to say something profound to do with Recce or Recon. I think ultimately, if you just go into whatever, this is not succinct closing words at all. If you're going to be doing a Recce or Recon role, then commit to it. So if it requires infiltrating under effectively costume, we'll call it that for like a LARP, commit to it. If you're going to start recording information and making sure that you're giving the best feedback of intel, commit to it. If you're going to, make sure that your perimeter is secure, you're going to, maintain light discipline, commit to it. Just do what you can to properly make that role the best it can be, and you will have more fun with it because you've done that.
I agree, 100%.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you. Right, we'll be back Wednesday, 8 o'clock next week. In the meantime, have a cracking week. And basically, that's it. So say goodbye, guys.
Bye, guys. Stay
Goodbye,
NoFo.
guys.
Ciao, Bella. Enjoy
Which outro should we do? 1 to 3.
Controls. 4.
I don't know 4. Ash?
2.
Gone 2.
Okay. Cool. Right, we'll see you next week. Have a good one.
See you later, guys. Let's go on a looky patrol.